welcome to episode 108 of the Cat Lady podcast. My name is Andrea, also known as the Cat Lady. That's 2 T's, C-A-T-T, craft all the things. I am coming to you on March 3rd, 2020 from, it's still dreary. I'm not gonna lie, it's still dreary. The sun poked out for a second. There's still a little snow on the ground. You can tell spring is coming, but it's not here yet. So the snow is melting, the sun barely peaked. I think it's supposed to rain today, so now it's not going to be wintry as much as it's going to be rainy, so for a while, but that's okay. I will take the rain over the snow. Doesn't mean we're not getting any more snow either, but hopefully the weather starts to change and get a little warmer. It helps get me more motivated and yada yada yada. Anyways, thank you for joining me. If you are new, thank you for checking me out. I am primarily a fiber related podcast, so yarn, knitting, spinning. I'm gonna be starting up a hand-dyed yarn business very soon. We'll talk about that at the end. And then a bunch of other crafts. So Cricut, I have a Cricut maker, so I use that, and whatever else comes my way. You can find me on Ravelry, Facebook, and Instagram as the Cat Lady. I am here on YouTube as Crafty Cat Lady. My new business will be hopefully, again, we'll talk about that later, but either Etsy or a standalone website, and it's just going to be thecatlady.com probably. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. So I am excited to dive in. So if you are on Ravelry, we have a knit along, make along, I guess I should call it. And it is a whip along, so works in progress. So any work in progress that you had prior to January 1st, 2020 is eligible. Also eligible are projects that you might have had languishing on the needles and decided to rip out. So frogged projects are also acceptable, and it's a make-along. So anything sewing, knitting, spinning, well, I guess you can't really, yeah, spinning. You can finish the spinning, you can't frog a spinning project, but anyways. Paper crafting, scrapbooking, whatever. If there's something you started prior to this year and you are gung-ho to finish it up and you get it finished, then please post it in the Ravelry group. I will try to, all the links of where you can find me are in the down below box, and all the show notes are on Ravelry. Usually I try to get them up. Sometimes I'm late, like yesterday I put in the show notes for last episode, so sorry. But all my projects are usually up to date on Ravelry, so if there's anything you are looking for, you can check my Ravelry page, or you can always email me or message down below, or find me on Instagram, anything. Pretty easy to get a hold of. The rules for the whip along okay, we did the rules. The prizes for the whip along. So far I have a project bag. So you can pick either the teal cats or the peach cats. Little drawstring bag. 12 minis from Happy Little Yarn. Very pretty, colorful. And stitch markers that have gone rogue. And a set of stitch markers from Nietzsche's porch that I need to find because they leaked out of my basket. So I have a feeling I accidentally put them away. So I need to put them back in the basket. So that's it. Oh, and I'm going to run this make along until the end of summer. Originally it was going to end at the end of March, but I have not cleared my needles very quickly. So I'm giving everyone a chance to take a little longer. There is an okay amount in the finished object thread. I would love to see more, so please get those whips off your needles, and I need to do the same. So I still have numerous whips that I had planned to work on that I have not, and instead have cast on new things that just realized I forgot something. That's okay. Alright, so we will take a quick break. Alright, so on to knitting. I will start with my finished objects. So this is a finished object that was a new cast on and bind off pretty much, and it was a very, very quick pattern. If you follow me on Instagram, you've seen this, but this is the Simplicity Cowl by Bromefields. So yeah, so it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter what the top and the bottom is, but I'm using this as the top, this is the bottom. So I do a really stretchy bind off, so it's definitely stretchy, but for what this is, it works perfectly. Let's see if I can get it on here. So this is a massive cowl, which the day I finished it, or the day before I finished it, was super cold, so, but you know, it can kind of come down around the shoulders, and fold here if you want it to. And when you do that, you kind of show the color shift. Or of course you can just wear it as a big old floofy cowl, which I like too. But I like that it kind of comes down because you can, when you put your coat on, it just like snugs all in there, and you don't have that weird like gap that when the air comes, when the wind blows and it like kind of goes down your coat and it's really cold. So this keeps you super warm, so I love it. It's nice and stretchy. So this is made out of Lion Brand Hometown USA, which is kind of same as my little kitties are made out of. Super bulky yarn. Super bulky? Yeah, I think it's super bulky. But it's one of my go-tos for a nice bulky project. It's soft, it's acrylic, but it's really squishy, just really squishy. And this is with US 13 9mm needles and 3 skeins. So 2 skeins of the Aspen Tweed, which is the cream colored, and then a skein of something charcoal. It was like San Diego charcoal or something. I don't know. So the Hometown USA brand, I think, plays off like teams. So they'll have like a, I'm trying to think of one that I can remember. I can't remember, but they'll play off like sports teams, I think. So like your hometown team. So it's there's a lot of sporty colors. Aspen Tweed, I don't think that relates to anything, but this charcoal was like something charcoal. So, and I forgot what it was. But I knew I was going to probably need 3 skeins. I had the 2, and I thought, okay, well, I'll do the 2 and see how big we are, and then I will go buy a 3rd skein the next day. But I was having so much fun with it, and I didn't want to stop, and I ran out of the tweed like I knew I would, but I thought, you know, maybe I can blend it with another color, and I did. So that is what I did. So I got some ends poking out. And I like it. I like how that turned out. So I sort of did it like a fade. So I did a row of the charcoal, 2 rows of cream, 2 rows of charcoal, 1 roll of cream, and so sort of little stripy blend. So yes, I really needed just an instant gratification project, and that was it. It literally took me like 4 hours. We had a snow day, so it was perfect. So on to my sock blanket, which I've barely touched. I usually post the squares I finish on Instagram. I finished one last night. I did not post it. Oh, I'm losing my yarn. So yeah, last I posted was square 38, I think. So I don't think I did any. I think I literally just did the 1 square since last time. Pretty much I can guarantee that. So maybe I did 2, but I don't know. There's that 1, and I started another one. So yeah, my blanket is not getting the love it was supposed to. My goal is to finish it by the end of the year. I have 432 total squares, and about 39 of them complete. Out of that, 400. Like I had 432 to go, so not total on the squares that are already on there. I calculated how many I needed from the beginning of December. And so yes, I still need 400-ish. A little less, but and that is and I am knitting those with size US 2 needles, which are 2.75 millimeter, I believe. And usually I like to use my circular needle, but that is being used somewhere else, so I'm using double points, which is kind of annoying, but it's fine. And it is living in my giant Christmassy bag. Because it's huge, it works, it's fine. Okay, so next work in progress. Oh, I just listed all my projects under finished objects apparently. But they're not. Well, oh no, that was finished, sort of. It's like a hat. That's like a work in progress slash finished object. Because each little square is kind of its own little finished object. So that's all. Okay, works in progress. There we go. So, I'm working on my lava lamp socks, which are using a Gale's Art sock blank. I'm knitted these on size 0, US 0, 2mm needles. Here is what, and if you don't know what a sock blank is, it is basically a blank, or when the dyer gets it, it's completely white, already knit up sock yarn. into this long piece. And you can actually get them double stranded, which means there would be 2 strands coming off here. So if you did two socks at the same time, or you could unwound them into 2 separate balls, but then they'd be matching. But I like the single. So this is a newer technique from Gail's Art. So she split it in half and half, did half this dark charcoal and the other half the fun colors with the stencils. And then so what you get when you knit it up is like these little mini stripes, like micro stripes. So last that I recorded, I was here. So I've made some decent progress. I'm very close to starting the ribbing. I like my socks tall. I have large feet, size women's US 11. And usually what I do is I knit all the way to the end of my toe, and then I'll do a bit of ribbing. So the toe, or so the actual leg will go farther than my foot when you fold it in half. And that's how I like my socks. And I usually do a lot of ribbing, but I don't think I'm going to do too much. I might do 2 or 3 inches of ribbing. Sometimes I've done like 6 inches of ribbing, which is annoying, but I am using a DPN cozy that I made. It's also living in one of my favorite project bags I've made. And the paisley swirls. And I'm using my Ram DeLorean Progress Keeper from DK Graham on Etsy. It came with my Baby Yo Project Keeper, which we'll see later. I usually do short row, fish lips, kiss, heel. I'd like to branch out and really do a legitimate gusset heel flap, or heel flap gusset sock. So my next socks will do that. And I have some, I made some calculations. I need to find that piece of paper though. I don't know where the piece of paper went, where I made all my calculations, and I have returned the book. So either I'm going to start all over and get the book again. So the book was a Kate Atherley book, simple or custom socks to fit your feet. And I jotted down some things that I thought would fit my feet better. But I don't know where they went, so. Alright, so next work in progress is my twin leaf fingerless gloves, which I don't think I had these cast on as well. I don't think I had these cast on either. So these are by Sashka Makievich. These are my US2, here's my US2. So here's where my US2's 2.75 millimeter needles are. I'm using leftover Knit Picks Hawthorne in the slate colorway. I got a little cake cozy or yarn cozy from Mandy Pinecone Crafts. So a little sloths on there. It's cute. And this, it works out so nice because this to begin with, this thing was a mess. This is leftover from my Find Your Fade. So the twin leaf fingerless mitts I made before. So if you've been watching me for a while, you've seen these. I made them out of Hue Loco yarn, and they are very pretty. But it's just a simple fingerless mitt with this really pretty leaf motif. And just look at that tonal colors of the gray. I love it. I love how these are turning out. So I posted a picture of my ones I made out of the Hue Loco, and a friend commented asking if I sold them, or if she could, you know, buy them type thing, buy a pair. And, you know, so I messaged her. I'm like, I really don't sell because it's, calculating out how much I would sell these for, I mean, to even, like, say that takes like 4 or 5 hours maybe. I don't know. It's like I haven't been keeping track. It's taken me like a week or so to do one, but obviously I've not been monogamous on it. Totally blanked. Anyways, price. So trying to calculate the price. So obviously it takes hours of knit time. The yarn costs, I mean, Hawthorne's relatively expensive. It's only using half a skein. So that's almost negligible. So just my time involved. So let's just say 5 hours. An okay wage would be $10 an hour, right? So that's $50 for a pair of mitts. I mean, if you wanted to semi-pay yourself fairly, which, you know, I don't want to charge somebody I know $50 for a pair of mitts. So instead, she is an artist. She does watercolor paintings. And so we are going to do a trade. So I'm making her a pair of mitts, and she is going to send me some of her lithograph printed watercolor paintings. So I'm excited about that because I've been following her for a long time. We've actually met on MySpace, which I don't even know how you met people on MySpace. You just sort of did. And so she was one of those people that I just sort of met. She lives in Washington State, I believe. I think she was Washington. So, I mean, never met her in person. Maybe she lives in California. Maybe she's in California. I don't remember. She's on the West Coast. I know that much. So I've never met her in person. We both ended up migrating over to Instagram and still following each other. So I always follow her progress and her work. And she's an art teacher, I believe. So, I mean, it's just funny how that works. So I wanted to do them for her. But I'm happy to do a trade because I want some of her artwork. So that works out. So I've started the second mitt. And this is so here's the Baby Yo stitch marker, and this is keeping track of my repeats. So I am on row 1 of the next, I just finished, this is row 1 of the next repeat. So that is key because the first time I did these mitts, I screwed up. I did like a repeat and then half a repeat, and then I started a repeat over again. And after I finished it, I kind of figured it out and did the same thing on the second one so they match. Because one of them would have been like shorter or longer or whatever in the cuff. So yeah, those are coming along, and it's a fun knit. I do need to pay attention when I knit it. The pattern is not necessarily super intuitive, but it's a free pattern on Ravelry, so check it out. Next up is my Barley Light. So I've had that cast on since New Year's Eve, but it's been slow going. It's a twinsy project, which means I am knitting it out of the. So twinsies with Jen is either the same yarn, the same pattern, or both. And we've done a lot of similar, like we did the Raina shawl, both in Miss Babs 2017 color, 2018 color, right? 2018? Or is this the 2018? Yeah, 2018. And then we've done socks with like Fleechy. We've done the Hitchhiker shawl, both using similar yarn. We did another Rhinebeck twinsy, was the twinsy shawl. Oh, the twinsy shawl, the shawl that I designed in honor of our twinsies projects. So the twinsy shawl we both did in Rhinebeck 2017 colorway, and so now here we are. I'm trying to think, I know we've done projects where we did the same project but different yarn, maybe? I'm trying to remember, I don't remember. But that is our twinsy projects. So last time that you saw this, it was here, this little marker here. So this is the Barley Light by Tin Can Knits. I also already have a Barley Light hat. I love it. I love these fingering weight hats. They're fun for pretty much all year round. Maybe not in the middle of summer, but spring through winter. Or fall through spring. There we go. They got some cool pooling in there. The blues. This is a pretty color. Got some pops of brown back there. This is Miss Babs Rhinebeck colorway 2019. So it's been a tradition the last 3 years. We have gotten the Rhinebeck colorway. So we've gotten, oh no. The Rhinebeck 2016 was the Socks That Rock by Blue Moon Fiber Arts. And then Rhinebeck 2017 was Rhinebeck 2017 was the Socks That Rock. Rhinebeck 2018 was the Raina, so it was a dark purple. And Rhinebeck 29, and that was Miss Babs. And this is another Miss Babs, Rhinebeck 2019. Seems to be our tradition. Now when we go to Rhinebeck, we book it into Miss Babs, get our Rhinebeck colorway, and call it a day. This is her Estrelita base. This is on US for 3.5 millimeters. Barley Light is a free pattern on Ravelry by Tin Can Knits. And this is living in my Quilting Sisters bag that I got from my friend Tanya. Star Wars. Kind of a rectangular bag. So. Okay. My mitt design is still going. We had some hiccups with the extra large worsted, large DK, which share the similar numbers. The bow at the bottom was off center because I actually added a repeat into the lace. So the small, medium, large, or the extra small, small, and medium size has the same lacy, helps I put it on maybe, pattern. Maybe I should put the one that's lighter that maybe you can see better. has the same number of repeats as far as, oh my gosh, put the wrong one on. Okay, so here we go. So we have 4 yarn over holes in the small, medium, extra small, small, medium. And so the bow is centered in that. So I added a repeat for the large, extra large to have an extra set of yarn overs because it's a wider space. Cast on more stitches. I had room to add another, comfortably add another repeat so that it fits the hand and it's not like really small looking in there. However, I forgot to change the bottom rows to shift the bow over because now your center of your repeats is now shifted. So yes, but I think I figured it out. This is the worsted weight. This is the DK weight, which of course, you know, when they're on, they look very similar. I like them. I'm pretty happy with it. I will be happy to get them released, the pattern released, but I'm trying to just relax and not overwhelm myself for no reason. Like, I have no deadline for this. This is my own personal thing. I can release it whenever I want. There is no deadline. So I should not stress myself out over it, right? Right. So same with business. So again, I will talk about business at the end, but I can take my time. I'm not facing any deadlines. I have plenty of other actual deadlines for other things, but this one I don't have any deadlines. So that is it for knitting. So I feel like I've accomplished a lot over the last 2 weeks, and so I was happy to share that with you. I go back and forth. So when I accomplish a lot of things over a week's time, week and a half, or when I hit the week mark and I feel like I have stuff to share, I kind of want to, but then I want to stay on a 2-week schedule as well, because I feel like staying on a schedule really helps. But then I get to the point where it's like I'm almost overwhelmed because I have too much stuff to share. So this is what goes on in my brain. So, all right, so I have some spinning. So I have not done spinning for quite some time, so I'm very excited to show. I've pretty much got angry at my knitting, even though I did have a lot to share. I got angry at my sweater. I've not touched my sweater. I need to touch my sweater. So I decided I would do some spinning, and I think I had already started, I think I had started spinning the Sassy Sheep. So the Sassy Sheep was a merino bamboo silk. It is red and orange, and I totally measured the yardage, and I don't know where I wrote it down. So I don't know how many yards it is, but it is, it's kind of squished. Here it is. Maybe not that bright. The light in here is blowing it out just a touch, but super pretty. It's like a fingering, it is about a fingering weight, so I'm very excited about that. It is a 2-ply, and like I said, this is a merino bamboo silk by the Sassy Sheep. And I did measure the yardage and forgot to write it, or I wrote it down somewhere and I just don't know where, so eventually I'll figure out what it was. Well, then I finished that one and I started a new one. So the new one I started was Quill and Fiber Arts BFL in the Midnight Sun colorway. I don't think the Sassy Sheep had a colorway on that one. It might have. If I find it, I don't think it did. I didn't have it listed in Ravelry. So, but this is, I decided to try to spin, so that one I spun for fingering, I tried to spin for worsted weight. Not worsted style, but worsted weight. I don't really get into the worsted wool. I pretty much spin everything worsted just because I like to, I can't do the long draw and I always have to like feed it in, so whatever. So this is pretty much a heavy worsted. There's parts that are like DK, there's parts that are, is it DK or Sport? DK. DK's heavier than Sport, right? Parts I think are DK and parts are bulky. So it's like, but overall, it's heavy worsted. Yeah, I think. I don't know. But really pretty. I wasn't sure if I was going to like the color, to be honest. But I do. I like the barber pulling everywhere too. So it's going to be a very marled looking yarn. I don't know what I'm going to make with it. And I did find the yardage of this one. Did I write it down? 205 yards. I didn't write it down, but I think it's 205 yards. So it's BFL, just 100% BFL, a little rustic but squishy, and I mean I can make something, make a hat. I don't know. Well, the problem when I use hand spun, I want to use it. I want to use it every little bit. I don't like having leftovers of hand spun because I don't know, it's just like so unique and fun and it's hand spun, so I like to just use it. So if I do a hat, I'm gonna have leftovers. I don't want leftovers. I can do hat and knits, maybe. I don't know. And again, the weight is gonna throw me. So maybe a cowl that won't matter as much as the fluctuation of weight won't matter as much as compared to a hat. I don't know. So, but yeah, I like it. I won this on Instagram like a million years ago. So finally used that. So I was planning on throwing something else on the wheel, but I have not yet, but I pulled it out and got it ready to go. And this is the next one. It is a merino silk from Recycled Yarn Co. And it's really pretty. So it's kind of like a reds, blues, silvers, silvery white colors in there. I haven't figured out what I want to do. Like, do I want to try another worsted? Do I want to do a 3-ply? Do I want to do a fingering? What do I want to do? Usually merino silk spins kind of thin. Just it's naturally kind of slippery and drafts real thin. So, but I could do, you know, 3-ply and make it a little heftier. That would probably be a worsted. I'm not sure. So if you have any thoughts and opinions on what I should do with this, it's 4 ounces. It looks huge because it's not as thick as a regular braid is. It was kind of thinner, so that's it. That's next for the wheel. I'm kind of hesitant to put it on there until I know what I'm going to do. So, and new this week also is I have another Cricut project. So I think I shared a Cricut shirt last time, and I shared this on Instagram because it was too good not to share. So I put up a poll of a blue shirt, and I held up some, and the poll was a disaster, to be honest. I don't even think I said that it was a blue shirt. I just had the shirt and I had 3 colors of vinyl underneath it that I just assumed everyone knew the shirt was blue and the vinyl was underneath. And most people probably did, but I didn't explain it. So I had a blue shirt and I had rose gold sparkly vinyl, gold sparkly vinyl, and then a silver just non-sparkly vinyl. And I took a poll on which one would be better, and the winner was the rose gold. However, the more I was thinking about it, the more I was looking at it, I was concerned that any of those colors were gonna kind of get lost in the blue. I don't know, I just didn't, I don't know. And I originally was gonna go with black, but I thought, oh, black's boring, I didn't want to do black. But I went with black. So I took the poll, got all the results, and ended up going with black anyways. But this was my shirt. It says prepare to dye, as in dyeing yarn. And I have my tongs, my spoon, and my respirator guy. So I thought it was pretty funny. And a lot of people got a kick out of it. So this will either be my actual yarn dyeing shirt, maybe. Like I'll actually dye yarn in it, and if it gets dirty, it's fine. And I thought about making a second one that I could actually just wear in black with the rose gold. Possibly, I don't know yet. Or I'll just keep this to wear, I don't know. But I thought it was funny. So I might make more of those, just for the heck of it. So that is my Cricut project. And that's it. I don't have anything else really in the works with the Cricut. So dyeing. So I will talk about dyeing. I will talk about business stuff later, the boring stuff. But I will show you what I've been dyeing because I've been practicing, and I still have some yarn left to practice. Actually, I have some soaking right now. I was hoping to get to today, but I don't know if I will. But, so, I have a story to tell. So, my first plan was to dye yarn to make the Doodler Shawl by Stephen West. So, it's a 3-color shawl. It's got like a strip of color on the front, or on the top. That's all on the front and the back. A strip of color on the top, and then you have a kind of circular shape that's a second color that incorporates like stripes of the first color, and then you have a wavy border of your third color. There might be a little bit more. I think there might be pops of one of the colors in the bottom too, but for the most part you got a strip of color on the top, semicircle second color, wavy bottom third color. So I needed 3 colors that would go together, and my plan was, looking at samples and what I liked and what kind of attracted me, was a color on the top, a white creamy color in the center with maybe like a speckled yarn, and then a third color in the bottom. And I was thinking a burgundy and a navy is what my plan was. So I mixed myself a 4% stock of navy, enough for 4 skeins of yarn. So it's a lot of navy, but it's 4 grams of dye powder to 100 milliliters of water. So it's not a lot of water, and it's a lot of dye. My plan was put it in a jar and leave it as a stock so I can use it again later. However, being it was my very first dye, I dumped the whole thing in the pot. So now I have a pot of water, full pot, you know, like I had a stock pot full of water, filled with 4% dye stock, enough for a pound of yarn, which is about 4 skeins of yarn. Well, I didn't want to dye 4 skeins of yarn navy. I just wanted to dye one skein of yarn navy. So I scrambled and I pulled half the stock out of the pot and then replaced it with clean water, fresh water. So, and had the other half, and I don't know half, I just started scooping cups out of the one pot into the other pot. I added water to the new pot to bring the level back up, and I threw my skein in and hoped for the best. So that skein came out, and it came out gorgeous. Now it's funny because the dye stock looked purple, so I'm like, oh, okay, I like purple, it's fine. If I get purple, it's fine, but it's not what my plan is. So yeah, I was like, okay. It came out navy, okay, navy baby, and the water was clear. It was perfect. It came out perfect. It really did, and it rinsed clear. Everything was great. So this is probably a darker percentage, you know, not a 4% stock. This is probably more. I can't recreate that particularly. So obviously I will have to test out navy again if I want. Even though I'm kind of sick of navy, but it's matches the shirt. But this is a really pretty navy. So this is, yeah, really, really happy with that. So that turned out. So then skein 2 was going for burgundy. So I don't have any like burgundy dye on hand. And I will talk to you about my dyes in 1 second. Hey, so I totally forgot to mention after I talked about the yarn I dyed, I was going to tell you the amazing thing that happened. So Amy from Happy Little Yarn used to dye yarn, and we saw her stuff earlier. Well, she's not dyeing anymore, but she has a crap ton of dye that she was not planning on using anymore, so she sent it all to me. Completely free, just cover shipping. So I have got like a ton of dye. Pretty much every Dharma color possible, almost, pretty close, at my disposal. So I am super grateful, super happy, and it's amazing to be able to play around with the dyes, and it kind of took a load off of the overwhelming, like, looking through the list and trying to figure out what dyes I needed to order to start with, because now I kind of have them all. And I will probably go in and pick a few more. There's a few, I think there might be 1 or 2, and not very many, like no more than like 5 or 6 colors that I could get that I don't have. So it's amazing. So thank you so much, Amy, and I'm sorry I totally spaced because I said I was going to mention it and then didn't mention it. Power of editing. So back to the show. So I don't have burgundy on hand, so I googled like on Facebook and looked at trying to find recipes, and someone mentioned using a magenta, like bright magenta or some sort of magenta, dark magenta, and a brown. I'm like, okay, I'll try it. So I started off with magenta. Like I tried to figure out how much I would need again per 1 skein of yarn. It's very hard to do the math for 1 skein of yarn versus when you're doing a pound. So, and when I do batches of yarn for actually selling, I'm planning on doing batches of 4. So, you know, all these recipes that I sort of have now aren't really going to be transferable as accurately. It doesn't matter. I wrote down what I did, but I did a lot of tweaking and stuff. So again, it's probably not recreatable. But I did the magenta and the brown, and I kind of kept adding a little bit more brown, trying to get it to lose the pink. Well, it did not lose the pink, but it turned out really pretty. So we have kind of like a berry. It's really just like a berry color. I've not named any of these because, again, I don't know if they're ever gonna recreate them again. But this one, again, was done in a large stock pot. And I do need new burners. I'm borrowing burners from somebody, and they don't heat up that great. So yeah, I am worried that hopefully these don't bleed because, you know, I don't know if they rinsed clear, so they should be okay. But I almost feel like I don't know if they got heat up enough. So then my third skein, so we're doing good so far. Not the color I was going for, but I like it, and I figured these two look really good together. So we could still go with it. So the third skein was the speckles. So I was going to do the white base with the navy and berry speckles. Well, obviously that berry was mixed from different powders, so I can't speckle the exact color. But I figured I found a berry dye color that I went with. And so this was the speckle. Again, beautiful. I love it. But a little more coverage than I was planning. So again, you're dyeing one skein. I'm trying to, I had low immersion in a flat pan, but I feel like the dye spread out a little more than I'd like. However, I like it. I still really like it. I mean, it's got really nice speckling in there, but it's also not a ton of the white. Not as much of the white yarn left that I was hoping to see. So if I need to do a swatch, I need to stripe these two, which it's probably going to be fine. The contrast is still going to be there. I was worried about losing the contrast so this would be the center panel with the stripes, and I would think this would be the top color across the top. This would be the center semicircle. I mean, that's probably going to be totally fine because this is going to stripe in with this. And then this will be my border. So I'll probably go with it. I was thinking today I would try to do a burgundy, but then I'd have to do another speckly, and I don't know. Now my battery's going dead, so I'm hoping I finish this. Ugh. Still got a lot to talk about. So, my fourth, I had 4 skeins that I threw into soak. So my fourth skein, I thought I was gonna get artistic-y here. And I took a picture, or I found a photo that I liked of like a sunset. It was like a sunset over the lake. It was really cool. I'm like, all right, maybe I'm just gonna try to recreate this, type thing. This is my inspiration photo. And I'm gonna pop in some pictures as I talk about this because, yeah. So, it was in a low immersion pan, 1 skein. Very minimal amount of water because I didn't want the dye to transfer and carry. However, I didn't have enough water in it, so once I sprinkled, I sprinkled the dye powder on this one because I thought that was what I wanted to do. However, when I did that, it struck that yarn like nobody's business. So I got way more intense patches and not the gradual color I was going for. So first, when it's in the pan, it looks like this. I will show a picture. And I'm kind of okay. And then I just started, and I had a list of colors that I was using, and then I just started throwing other colors in there, and I didn't even know what they were going to turn out, so I used champagne, and it was kind of yellow. I'm like, okay. Then I used platinum, and it ended up being gray, and I'm like, okay. So, and then I put black speckles over one part of it at one point. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I was not sold on this skein. Whatever, I might just over dye it. I got a lot of navy left over I can still use. So I thought about this, but I finished it, rinsed it, hung it to dry. So this is the skein. This is what the skein looked like right after it was dry. So I wasn't sure. You could tell there was a lot of white splotchies in there. It just looked splotchy. So then I figured, okay, now I need to decide, am I going to go in there and tweak it, or am I going to over dye it, or what am I going to do with it, or am I going to leave it? Well, I opted to just leave it and reskein it. And you know what? Reskeining is like magic, because this is what it came out reskeined. It looks pretty darn good, for a failure, which I consider this was a giant failure. It looks really good. Someone would buy that. I would buy that. It's pretty. And I made a swatch, just a tiny little swatch, US ones, and just a couple rows. And I'll put a picture of the swatch because it looks good. I'm excited about it. Can't recreate that one either, probably. Could probably, use similar colors, but it would definitely not be the same. I would like to try this colorway similar in a large batch, more water, 4 skeins, where I can do the dye and get it in there, and it'll travel gently, but it won't because if you have one pan with all that water along the side of your skein, it's just gonna suck up to the front of your yarn. If you have a packed pan of 4 skeins, it doesn't have as much places to go. So yeah, but it was kind of a hot mess, but it turned out really nice. So I like that. So I don't know what this is going to be yet. I don't know anything about this. I feel like I need to knit up samples of things to show. So that's that. So back to our navy. So I had a whole pot of navy sitting that I want to use because I didn't want to sit there. So I threw, oh, first things first. Okay, we'll backtrack just a bit. So I had a little cup of like my rinse water, so where I'd put in my utensils and stuff from the berry and the navy. So it was like a bluishy, purpley kind of thing. And so I dyed a skein of fisherman's wool, 4 ounces of fisherman's wool, which is Lion brand, 100% non-superwash wool. I threw that in a pot with that leftover dye because I wanted to use leftovers. And a few dyers that I followed do the same thing where they, Chemknit, Rebecca from Chemknit calls it a mop, yarn mop. So she mops up all the additional colors with another skein of yarn. You're not wasting the dye, you're not throwing it down the drain. Also Fiber for the People does the same thing with her leftover stuff. So I am planning on doing the same thing because I think it's a great idea. I don't want to throw stuff down the drain if I don't have to. So I did that and I got this. I'm not showing the actual skein yet because, oh, and I threw in a little bit more of the navy stock because I needed a little bit more color. And this was okay. It was okay. So then I threw in another, so then I pulled out my big stock of navy pot, my stock pot of navy. I threw in another skein of fisherman's wool. So I bought a few, I bought two big skeins of fisherman's wool, and it each is 8 ounces, so it was enough for 4 ounce skeins. So I threw in, I wound them up into 4 ounce hanks, and then I threw one in and got this. So this is a really nice navy worsted weight. I think I have a plan for this. Fiber for the People has a pattern called Fire Pit Mitts, and actually she used fisherman's wool for one of her samples, and I think a navy, and they go all the way up, like kind of go up your arm. So I mean, this isn't necessarily the best skin soft, but for my arm I think it's fine. So I might do that with this. I think this will be enough. I'm not 100% sure. So that was my only downside. It's like, is half a skein enough? 4 ounces? I want to say it will be, but I don't know. So we'll figure that out. And then I still had dye left in the stock pot. So I threw in some minis of fisherman's wool that I actually already had. So this is like really old stash. And those came out nice, a little bit lighter. Well, I still had stock. It looked like it was pretty clear, but I think a lot of the dye had settled to the bottom of the pot. So I like started to put in some water and get ready to dump the pot. Like I was like turning on the water and about ready to rinse and dump the pot out. And all of a sudden the color was just like blooming from the bottom, and like I had a full dark pot full of navy again. I could not get rid of this navy. I'm like, oh, crap. So what was I going to do? I decided to go back to the original skein, the kind of lighter denim-y colored skein. I'm like, you know what, I'm going to throw that in again. So I throwed that again and I got this. So it's a little bit darker than it was. That's like a more of a, almost like a lavender navy colored. So that's really pretty. And I'm very excited. Almost matches, and that's like light blue. So yeah. So I got 8 ounces of that. I mean, I could do something with these two. That could be fun. I could do a 2-tone mitt. So the first half of the mitt's this color, this half if I need more yarn. So I can play around with that. But those two, obviously those two complement each other. They're from the same dye stock, essentially. And that finally, and I actually pulled that pot upstairs, threw it on my stove upstairs because I don't think the burners downstairs were getting hot enough to fully exhaust that dye. So that's why I am a little nervous about these ones. I mean, they rinsed out, this one rinsed out, bled a little bit, but not bad. So I do worry a little bit. So I don't know if I need to give it another wash or just, you know, obviously I'll wash my finished product pretty carefully. I'm pretty confident in this one, but I am a little nervous just because it was my very first dye, really. So those are all my dyeables for this week. And yeah. So there you have it. On to stash. Sorry, this is going to be a long episode, so it just is what it is. And hopefully my battery doesn't die because it's still flashing at me. So for stash this week, I have a bag of minis that I got from Naomi, who is the Yarn Curator podcast. She had mentioned over Vlogmas time that And she saw I was working on my blanket. She's like, oh, I have minis I can send you. And I said, well, sure, I would love your minis. Because I mentioned definitely don't have enough to finish my blanket. So yeah, this will definitely be a good chunk of minis to add to my blanket. I got this vase. I'm thinking of putting minis in here. Ooh, I echo. Hello. So yeah. Not really stash, but I don't know. It's kind of cool. So, put my minis in there. Put it somewhere. I mentioned fisherman's wool, so I have, this is technically old stash, so I had this skein lying around. So this is the like marled, natural marled kind of look. So I thought that'd be fun to over dye. So you have a brown and a kind of a darker cream. Could do some interesting colors with that. I have another skein of the regular bear. So I thought for these ones in general, maybe these would be good for using up the leftovers. Just kind of playing around just because it's pretty inexpensive and I just have it hanging out. Don't want to waste my precious skeins that are in small quantity right now because I have not had a chance to order any more yarn yet. So I also got, oh, so if you all follow me on Instagram, you saw these skeins. Beautiful. I love these skeins so much. They're so pretty. So this is Cleckheaton Australian Superfine Merino that I had gotten at Joann's a few years ago, and I had knit the Color Affection shawl. It's been sitting in my, the finished shawl has been sitting in my drawer for now years. I pulled it out here and there, but every time, the edges, it's not straight. It's an asymmetrical half crescent shawl. And, you know, your top edge is supposed to be straight, and it's like this because I didn't carry the yarn between colors very well, so it's tight, and it didn't block out. So, you know, I just, on a whim, decided to frog it. And that's where we are. So, and I still really love this color combination, so maybe I'll make it again, but if I do, like, I just need to figure out how to carry the yarn better, or I'm just gonna have a million ends to weave in, so I haven't decided. So yeah. But I have those. New to me again. I also got a beading hook, or a crochet hook. It's a crochet hook, but for beading. So I am making the sparkling cider hat at some point by Vine. I did not have an appropriate size crochet hook, so I don't know how anyone could possibly crochet with that. It's tiny. So we got that. And lastly, well, I forgot to mention it last time, I won a giveaway from A Lefty Knitter podcast. Aquila had a little giveaway on Instagram giving out patterns, and I was gifted the Angel Face Turban, which was the pattern I chose. And that pattern I saw on the Yarn Courier podcast, so this is in the near future. This is perfect for summer. I'd really like to get that knit up before the summer. So it is a fingering weight. I'm trying to figure out a color. I should dye something. Maybe this one. I don't know. So that is my stash. Okay, that is it for podcasty knitting related stuff. So now I will briefly talk. Oh, no, that is not it. Podcasts I have been watching. So very quick, same ones I always watch. New episodes from The Wayward Skein with Lynn, Cat Knit Podcast, Victoria Knits, Needles at the Ready, A Lefty Knitter, The Lefty Knitter, A Lefty Knitter, The Lefty Knitter. I have the, but I think I had A, I don't remember. I think it's A Lefty Knitter. Sorry, Aquila. Chevy Rel's stuff. Yeah, and that's all I have for new podcasts that have been released since I last recorded. And a new to me-ish podcast is Fiber for the People, which I've talked about a few times already today. Taylor Earle, I have been binge watching her episodes. She doesn't typically do regular podcasts anymore. Her old podcast was called Wool Needles Hands, so I'm binging on her old episodes. She hasn't recorded a new one in a while. She's focusing on her yarn business, which is Fiber for the People. But she has a new series, a vlog series of her dyeing yarn, which is amazing. So that's how I stumbled across her in the first place. She has a lot of vlogs out of her dyeing yarn process, and now that I'm watching her podcast, she was forming her yarn business. So it's very appropriate. It's like I feel like super connected to this because it's like pretty much reflecting exactly what I'm doing. So it's kind of funny. So that is it for the Yarn Vibree podcast goodness. Now I will talk about life in review and a little bit of business, if I can, before my battery dies. So, life in review. And the last 2 weeks have been pretty low-key, but overwhelming. I don't know why. I mean, again, we haven't done much. Like, we haven't had a lot to do, but I just feel like if you look in front of me, my house is a mess. So that doesn't help. My kids are just slobs. I don't know how else to put it. So this is their toy room, and it's a disaster, and I just hate it. So I think it's just overwhelming, and then like the kitchen is constantly a mess, and everything is a mess. My life is a mess. That's how I feel. So life just is overwhelming. And I think I posted on Facebook not too long ago, the same thing. I have alarms for everything, so I can remember to pick up the kids from school. Like, so today I have alarm set, so I remember to go pick up my children from school, because, you know, I have forgotten before. They have an after school activity, so they're not coming home on the bus. So, you know, obviously it's a change in schedule, but I've forgotten my kids before. Like, literally I got a phone call from the office saying, your kids are here. I forgot to take them to the doctor. That's what happened. So I have alarms for that. I have alarms for when they get off the bus, and like I have lists everywhere, which is why I can't find where my skein yardage is, because it's on one of those many lists somewhere. I started using my bullet journal again, and again, if you follow me on Instagram, I say that a lot, but I post a lot. I had a picture of my bullet journal. It said like March 2017 or 2018, September 2019, and then finally February I crossed it out, and February 2020. And we've been using it pretty regularly, so it's a good place to keep all my stuff. And it's just like a lists journal-y, so whatever thoughts that I have, I can put it down. I have a grocery list, I have a whatever list, I have a business list, so it seems to be working. I took David to the orthodontist this morning, and he needs double expanders. So Emily has an expander on her top teeth because she had like a tooth coming in weird and whatever. David needs both. He's literally got 2 rows of teeth down here. So he's got his 2 front teeth that came in, and then his 2 teeth next to it started to come in, and they're coming in the back because there's no room. And now the one on this side is coming in so like on an angle and hitting his baby tooth over here that's not due to come out for like 2 or 3 years. So they're gonna put an expander in the bottom, which they don't typically do. It's not as common, but he needs it. And then they're putting the expander in the top because he needs it. We were hoping to wait a little bit longer, but he's in pain right now. So, but he still has to wait. So that's in like 2 weeks he goes in to get like rubber bands to kind of make room for the expander. And then in a week after that, he gets the expanders. And Emily's been fine with hers, so I'm hoping for similar. Boy, they're expensive, number 1. Number 2, that he can't eat a lot of things, so, you know, candies and stuff, so that stinks, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I'm happy we can afford to take care of his teeth now and not wait, because I did ask, like, what happens if, you know, you can't do that right now? He eventually, either he would lose that tooth early, because it would be pushing the one out, or, you know, they just settle where they are. So, but, you know, that stinks. So I'm glad we can take care of it. We have Pinewood Derby this weekend, so I'm a little stressed out about that because I have no idea what we're doing. My dad helped build the cars, so the cars are ready. The kids really don't have that much interest in it because I don't think they really know what it is. And I don't really know what it is. I know what it is, but, you know, it's like, I don't know. There's just so many rules and regulations, and so, I don't know. We go in for inspection on Friday, and then the race is Saturday morning, so we'll see how that goes. Girls on the Run is starting next week. I am the coach for Girls on the Run. If you don't know what Girls on the Run is, it's a running program for 3rd through 5th grade girls that focuses on like self-esteem and anti-bullying and, you know, girl power kind of thing. And then the running is more of a side thing, so we go out every day and we walk or run around the track. And then it ends with a 5K. This is the 3rd season I've coached. I didn't want to coach, but if I wanted Girls on the Run to be at our school, then they needed a coach. And so I stepped up and did to do it, and I enjoy it. But again, that's just a whole another layer of stress, kind of. So that is coming up. I had training this weekend for that. And so yeah, I mean, things are just getting real. So business. So if you'd like to hear about how business is going, please have a seat for a second, and we can chat about that. It's slow. It is slow moving. So I heard back from the accountant. We decided to go and ahead with the LLC plans. I have not filed the form yet though. I have the form, I need to fill it out. So that is on my to-do list for this week. I still need to file for sales tax, but again, I'm not selling anything, so I don't need to worry about that quite yet either, but I should fill these out. So this week my to-do list is LLC form, sales tax form, and contact my insurance guy for business insurance information. So boring. I would like to start a newsletter. So if you have not seen that post on Instagram, if you head over to my Instagram profile and click on the link tree, there is a sign up for my newsletter. I will put it in the down below as well. So I'd like to get a newsletter, and of course I need a mailing list to send out a newsletter. So if you would like to follow me along on this new journey and this business stuff, please join my newsletter. When I do launch my mitt pattern, my totally rad mitts, I will of course offer a coupon code to my newsletter subscribers. So I will let you know when those launch. I will probably be starting out with like a good about me story, so you can learn about me and kind of where I came from and how crafting came up in my life. So I will get that. That will be my first newsletter probably. So if you want to learn more about my personal life, sign up for my newsletter. Other than that, let's see. My goal, so like I mentioned earlier, I don't have a deadline. I really don't have a deadline, and I don't need to give myself another deadline. But my goal is summer, so like June. So that is my goal right now, because now that Girls on the Run is hitting, and Girls on the Run goes through March, April, and half of May, most of May. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to get in dye time in general, and it's going to be just tough to wrap my head around anything other than getting through the day-to-day life, because I got to plan each lesson, I got to email parents after each lesson. It's just, there's a lot of, and then the session itself is twice a week for like an hour and a half. So there's a lot that goes into it. So that's going to take up a lot of time, but that still gives me time to practice slowly. I applied for a business credit card, so I'm waiting for that to come through so that I can purchase my supplies. Oh, I forgot to mention my supplies. So, anyways, so I'm waiting for the business credit card. So, I'm not in a hurry, so I need to realize that I need to just relax and not worry about it too much. So. I think that's all I'll mention today. I have other things I could chat about, but I feel like this video is probably really long this week, so maybe I should go back to one week just because. Or do I need to do separate business videos maybe? I don't know. Please comment with whatever you whatever you want to see. Do you want to see me break up videos into separate things? Do I need to do the yarn, show off the yarn in separate videos? I don't know, I kind of keep adding more stuff, and I don't want videos to be 2 hours long, so that is where I'll stop today. I do have plenty more I could talk about, but I can save that for next time, and with that, I hope everyone gets to craft all the things and has a wonderful 2 weeks, so I will see you next time.